Morning. Okay, I plan to use YouTube stream today rather than having to communicate through Google Meet because I found that the video stream was quite laggy when I tried to stream and having a Google Meet presentation at the same time. So I guess it's better if I do it. I do everything in this YouTube stream because I'm pretty sure that you guys can. You guys are having a hard time in following up my Google Meet meeting. Some of you are having a connection issue with Google Meet. You keep on getting disconnected from that meeting. So I guess why not we just watch the stream together, and since we are not really that communicating that much in Google Meet, so I guess this chat window will be enough for this purpose. Okay, so you just communicate with me through the Google chat here, and then I can read all your chat from here, or I guess I can also check it out from here. Yeah, I can look at my iPad by the way, so I don't need to see the chat window here anymore. So I hope that this will work. I guess this is not the first time I did YouTube stream all along. Okay, before this I have done it with you, I guess, during your first ever class. Good morning everyone. Okay, I will do the arrangement this way just like yesterday. No, I'm not interested in that. Topic 5 function. Okay, so we are dealing with this topic 5 here. So this is gonna be my playground. Good morning. There are 11 people in here, 11 people currently watching. I don't know what is going on here. Where are the rest of you guys? Okay, 14. Yes, going up. Say hi in the chat box down there, since we are not gonna make any noise in here. Can only see you through the number up there and then down here. but I can't seem to look at each of your account from my iPad view here. I can only look at the real info on this YouTube is basically on the Safari here. Okay, but let's just get started with our next topic. Yeah, this is the problem here. Cannot make it. I have to do it like this. The presentation is here. I'll make this one smaller. No. Morning. 14 of you. Never mind, this is a YouTube stream, so everything will be recorded as usual. I just wanted to have a better stream on YouTube rather than having to use both Google Meet and YouTube stream. At the end of the day, I'm sacrificing the quality in the YouTube stream. If you watch the YouTube stream yesterday, you will know what I mean by that. Okay, the video was so laggy, and I noticed that yesterday I got some issue with audio. My voice was not that clear. I need to put my iPad here. My sudden for some reason my mic was not really picking up my voice. Don't know why. If you notice, you have to increase the volume up, all the way up. I was quite surprised to see that happening. So I hope that today my voice is clear enough in this stream. Can you hear me clearly, guys? I'm not listening through myself here. Can you guys hear my voice clearly? The problem with YouTube stream is that I guess that there is some latency here. You guys are not really watching me in real time. Yeah, so I have to wait for quite some time for you to jot down that chat there. So all right, okay, let's get straight to this topic. This is gonna be the last topic for you guys in this syllabus, okay, which is topic 5. We have finished all the required structures in C++. It's just that we have not really touched on nested loop, which I will do a separate discussion on that once we are about to do our revision. So that will be for our revision purpose. Okay, nested loop. I skipped nested loop yesterday, and I hope that you watched the video that I've made yesterday on our stream. Okay, the stream was quite long, 1 hour and 48 minutes, and then I have added one more video yesterday. Yeah, join my Google slide as well, so that I can see you guys inside here as well. You also need to watch the question 7 discussion on question 7. It was 29 minutes like that. Okay, it took me quite a while to record that because question 7 needs a very long analysis, because the question is giving us pseudocode, so we have to interpret the pseudocode, translate the pseudocode into your program. So that is why it took me quite a long time to finish that discussion. Okay, all right, so without further ado, let's go to this topic right here. Topic 5 is function. So let's start off with the introduction part of this topic, and then we will learn about these function parameters, function with multiple parameter. Actually, function parameters is just without s here, okay, and then function with multiple parameters, and then the random function default argument. So what to expect in this topic? Okay, because you are no longer C++ programming, so I guess it's better if you know what to expect, okay, out of this topic right here. So consider this as the outcome of this topic. You will learn 5 different things inside here. You see, that is why I need to start off teaching this topic from now. Okay, this is already week 11, so next week is gonna be the last week before our 2 weeks holiday. So I guess I need to spend more time on this topic rather than sticking with the repetition structure, which basically we have covered almost all. It's just that maybe we don't have enough practice on that. We will do quite a lot of past years, basically coming from 2019. I will do the stream, okay, specifically for that purpose, okay, for our revision, for our preparation for the next test. All right, so the 5 different types of function are function with no return value and no parameters. The second type is function with no return value but we have parameter. For the third type, it is function with return value but no parameter. Type 4, function with return value and parameter, and the last one is gonna be function with parameter that is going to be passed by value or passed by reference. Okay, this is where you are gonna see a lot of these keyword written, as I've mentioned pretty much starting from the beginning of the semester. Okay, you are about to use written a lot in topic 5. Okay, you have been ignoring that written 0 at the end of your code, but here you need to understand what does that written means. So say hi to function, guys. Okay, so introduction to function. Function is a group of statements. This was taken from Code Academy. A function is a group of statements that perform a particular task. You may define your own function in C++. Using function, you can have many advantages, including the following. You can reuse the code within a function. Something like recycling a part of your code. Okay, you can easily test individual function. Okay, this might not mean anything to you now. If it is necessary to make any code modification, you can make modification within a single function without altering the program structure. You can use the same function for different input. Every valid C++ has at least one function, the main function. Okay, let's look at this main function real quick. Okay. All this while, what you have done in C++ is basically you are writing the main function. That is the primary function in C++. Okay, the main function takes the following general form. This has been the structure that you have learned so far, excluding the IO stream up there. They're using namespace std. You just ignore that are the header. But the main function referring to the block here. This is referring to the block. starting from the keyword int, okay, which stands for integer, okay, int main, and then followed by this parenthesis, and then you have some code in between these curly braces, and then you end the code with return 0. If you ever try to use void main, okay, this is the catch here, guys. If you follow the tutorial or if you copy and paste the code from the PDF note, you will find some main function comes with a void as the data type. Let me show you how the code looks like in your PDF notes. So normally we write like this: int main, and then followed by curly braces, and then we have return 0 at the end, and then in between here there will be some code here. Okay, this is what you have pretty much done so far. You never change the way it looks. But if you morning everyone, Glenn as usual. Okay, normally you use int main because that is the requirement. We have to use int main for this purpose. Topic 5. Okay, so I can have my playground here. G++. Alright, I am compiling my code here. You see nothing is happening, right? Because it is able to compile the code. Okay, my compiler is able to compile the code. But let's just change the return type here. Okay, I've said it. I've said the term return type. I've not even gone to the notes yet. Okay, let me change this to void. Okay, according to your note in the PDF, you will see that the main function is having the data type of void. And if I run the code, what's gonna happen? As you can see here, my compiler is spitting out all this error. It says main must return integer. Main cannot return nothing. As you can see here, my compiler is suggesting that we cannot use void. We have to use int instead. Okay, this is because C++ has gone through so much changes since the beginning of its time. So the people working on this library has decided that main must return something. Main must return something. Void means you don't return anything from the code, from the block of function here. As you can see, this return 0 is basically you are returning an integer number, to somewhere. You are giving that number to someone. So we cannot use void as the return type here. I will go into that in more details later, the return type term. But we cannot use void simply because the main function must return this number, which is 0. It will be returning that value to the operating system, basically. Okay, so that return 0 simply means I've done my job, nothing wrong with the code, so that's it. I'm returning 0. So your operating system will acknowledge that, and then it sees that your program returning 0, meaning all is well. Okay, nothing is wrong with your code, no error, no runtime error whatsoever. So return 0 means everything is good, and then your compiler, your program is telling the operating system that everything has went well. So this is the return type of your main function. You must use int. You cannot use other type as well. If you plan on using float, for some reason you cannot be float. it cannot be double, it cannot be char. Okay, it cannot be double. Double is simply the more precise version of float. Yeah, I can make this smaller, I guess. Okay, you cannot have a double. For that, you cannot have like char. These are the data type that you have learned so far, so let's just go through it. Okay, and then you cannot have string as your data type for main. So you can see, all you see is all this error. You keep on seeing the error telling you that you cannot you cannot use other data type except for int. So int is the only allowed data type for the allowed return type for your main function. So let's get back to this. A function's return type is declared before its name. Basically, it is this int. In the example above, the return type is integer, int, which indicates that the function returns an integer value, which is the 0 at the end of the code here. Occasionally, a function will perform the desired operations without returning a value. Such functions are defined with the keyword void. You will see how we do that function later on. Void is a basic data type that defines a valueless state. Okay, void means no value. Okay, in C++, you have to understand this term called void. Void means nothing, nothing. Alright, next, function definition. Okay, defining a function. How do we define a function? So this is basically the structure that we have to follow. Define a function using the following syntax. First, you must write the return type. You must write the return type. Morning everyone. There are still only 18 of you in here. Okay, 18 of you. I wonder why. It is 10 o'clock in the morning. I understand that some of you may still be sleeping right now. Okay, ignore that. Alright, so in order to create a function, you must start with the return type. Okay, and then followed by the function name. And then you have got the parentheses as usual. And then inside the parentheses might be a parameter. There might be some parameters inside here, but for our main function, we can leave these parentheses with nothing inside. Okay, there should be nothing inside here. Don't get yourself confused. Iklam have no data, so Iqbal have no data. Alright, okay, noted, Nurimanuddin. And then you have got the body of the function, which is basically in between the curly braces. It is confined in between the curly braces. That is what we call the body of the function. So let's look at the definition of each component here. The return type just now, the data type of the value returned by the function. Okay, as you can see at the end of the function later on, you will return something, and that something, it must have a data type. So if you are returning number, something like you are returning 100, so it must be, sorry, let's just not use this as example. Let's use some function. Okay, let me create just a dummy function first for declaration here. Okay, so this return type right here, void, is being used for my function called sumFunc. Okay, sumFunc. And then inside this function, there is an empty function body here. So some code here as well. Okay, if I run my code, nothing will happen. But Okay, if I try to return something, so let's say I'm just returning that 100 once again, returning some value at the end of the code. As you can see right here, my compiler will detect that as an error. It says void function, sum_func, it says, should not return a value. You see, it is giving me an idea of what is really going on here. As I have declared my function here, this is my new function. Okay, this is our normal main function. This is what you have done from topic 1 until topic 4. But today we are going to see an additional function inside our code here. And then I have added one extra function just below the main function. After you close the curly braces of your main function, then you can start writing a new function for your code. Okay, basically this function here is having the return type of void. Okay, as you can see from my declaration up here. And then inside the function body, suddenly I wanted to return some value. Okay, you don't need to understand this yet, the returning part. But if you do have to return something, you simply cannot use void. Okay, that is what you need to understand here. So if you plan on returning integer value like this example right here, you must declare this function with a return type of int. You see, void functions of, oh sorry, I have not saved my code here. As you can see, there is no more error when I change the return type to int to float and see, would it work? Yeah, it will work with that. Okay, let me change the char maybe. As you can see, as long as you have you use any other data types, okay, any other return type other than void, then you are good to go whenever you have some return value, even though this might be giving us another error in later throughout your code analysis, because this is returning a number but the return type is supposed to be a character, but that is a different story. Okay, so back to this void. So if you have the function with return type of void, meaning that your function cannot have anything that start with the word return. Okay, so a function name is just a function name. You can name it anything you want. Extra function, you can name it as extra function, you can name it as new function, or you can just name it anything you want. Doesn't have to have the word function inside there. You can just put extra here. Okay, do this job, a function called do this job, print something. You can create anything you like, just except but the naming scheme here is also following the variable naming rules, such as you cannot start with number. If you start with number, then you will get an error here, unqualified id says in front of your function name. You have got that number 9, you cannot have that in front there. And then if I remove this and if I run it again, you should see it is having no error here. And then you cannot have white space. As usual, you cannot have white space. As you can see, it even suggests me maybe you need to put semicolon in between, but instead we are actually just making a mistake here. Okay, what else? You can start your function name with semicolon. Wait. Oh. You can start your function name with underscore. Sorry, underscore. I said semicolon. It's not right. Okay, you can start off with what's going on here. All right. You can start off with underscore. You can put underscore any way you like, but you can put number any way you like as long as it is not in front of the name. Okay, print 9 something. So if I run it, so no issue there. Okay, there are 20 people already inside here, but I think you are more than that. Yeah, some of you don't even have data who are not here. Can you guys notice that who are not inside here? Oh, suddenly it goes up to 22. Alright, let's move on to the next component here, parameter. When a function is invoked, you pass a value to the parameter. Invoke here simply means you are invoking the function. Invoking the function simply means you are calling the function. Okay, you're calling the function. This is the term that you need to understand in this topic. Calling a function is gonna be said frequently in this topic. I'm not gonna use this term invoke. Invokes means calling, so you better use the general English term. It's something like the character in Dota, invoker. Invoker will call out the sun falling from the sky, and his power is being invoked. Okay, you pass a value to the parameter. This value is referred to as actual parameter or argument. The parameter list refer to the type, order, and number of parameter function. Okay, we are not going to see this yet. Okay, let's move on to body of the function, because we have 5 types of function. You have to be clear with that. Since we have 5 types of function, so all these will make a different type of function there. Invoker power. Body of the function, a collection of statements defining what the function does. Okay, basically that is what you have done so far. You write your code, everything is inside there. So all the function, all the task is being written inside this body of the function. Okay, which is the sum code here. Parameters are optional, that is, you can have a function with no parameter, and that is why you have those 5 types. Okay, let's move on. Okay, as you can see right here, there is this example. As an example, let's define a function that does not return a value, it just prints a line of text to the screen. Let's do this function in our code. Yeah, I think I have done the naming here for you. So print something. Okay, we create a function with void, and then with void return type, and then with the name of print something, and then inside here we will do this process. See out. Hi there. Okay, hi there. And then what else do we need to do? Our function entitled print something returns void and has no parameters. As you can see here, it is returning void and it is having no parameter. Now we can use our function in main. Okay, if you do your code like this, if you write your code like this, and then if you compile and run your code, nothing is going to happen. Okay, nothing is going to happen. Bulak Glenn slow hand. Hah? Kok masuk slow hand? Alright. This won't do anything because your function needs to be invoked. Okay, it needs to be called. It needs to be called. If you have all your functions outside the main without being called, it is pretty much useless because you are not using that function. Alright, in order to see that printed out, as you can see, I have run my code and nothing is being displayed there. I don't see any hi there statement being printed out. That is simply because I have not called that function. So we need to call that function. How do we call that function? We need to call them by their name. Okay, so the name of that function is print something, so you just write print, and then my autocomplete menu here pop up, and then you can see it is suggesting me that you have some function inside with the name print, which starts with the name print, and it could be this print something. Yeah, so I will just select that, and then that is how and that is how you call the function. But that is not the complete way of calling the function. You have to write this parenthesis as well. You have to include this parenthesis in order to complete your function call. Okay, without having this parenthesis, it is just like a variable. If you run this code right here, it will say you have undeclared identifier, because now your compiler see this print something without parentheses as just a normal variable rather than a function that already exists below the main function. That is simply because the formatting here is not complete. In order to distinguish itself, either it is a function or it is a variable. So you don't forget to include the parentheses. As you can see, now it knows that I am referring to that function. So let us recompile the code here. Okay, now I get another error here. Okay, use of undeclared identifier. Okay, because the way I did this is not the same as the way it is being instructed in the Google slide right here. As you can see, consider this as your code editor. Consider this as your code editor. Basically, you must put the additional. It's not must. You have to understand this first. Now this example is asking you to write the void print something first before you write the main function, meaning that my positioning here is not right. So the void print something needs to be placed up here, but there is a way for us to avoid from having to do it this way, because there is a plus and there is a pro and cons for this arrangement right here, but we will get into that soon. Now if I run my code, now if I compile my code, nothing will be no error will be happening anymore, because I have changed the position of my void print something up here. And then if I run my code, you can see hi there. Okay, hi there. So that is how you call the function from within the main function. As you can see right here, to call a function, you simply need to pass the required parameters along the function name. Try it yourself. As you can see, this was taken from Code Academy. That is why you see this. Try it yourself here. Okay, function declaration. All right, you declare a function prior to calling it, as you can see here. Actually, you cannot use this must because it is not the only way to do so. Okay, this is not the only way to declare a function, but basically what we have done here is basically declaring a function. Declare a new function, name, print something. Okay, so that is what we have done so far, basically like our declaration of variable. So normally I use that term, right? I use the term we need to declare variable first before we start out with the program. So basically this is also known as declaration of function. Putting the declaration after main will result in error. Okay, obviously what you have seen earlier, if you put the declaration after the main function, you will see this error. Okay, to put it in layman's term, basically your main function cannot see anything below it. Okay, without a proper way of doing it, main simply cannot see anything below its curly braces. It can only see anything above its head. Okay, that is the layman term of understanding this issue here. Okay, I hope that you can understand that for now, because you will learn how to maintain this position here, but you can tell the main function there is something below its feet. Okay, so right now the main function cannot see the print something function because it is located underneath its feet. Okay, let's just consider this closing curly braces as the feet of your main function here. So it can see anything above its head somehow, because that's the way of your C++. That is how it works, basically, the function here. Okay, if you put it above its head, then it will see, oh, I got something up there, print something, right? Okay, so whenever you're trying to call it, it will be able to call that function. But if you put it down there, if you run the code, if you compile the code, suddenly your code written this error saying that main doesn't know what this print something means. It doesn't see anything above its head, while not knowing that actually there is something below its feet, okay, underneath. But you have to do something in order to let the main function knows that there is something underneath its feet. So I keep on repeating that. I hope you understand the concept there. Function prototype. All right, so in order to tell the main function that there is something, there is some extra function underneath its feet, you have to do this function prototyping. Okay, basically just now you were declaring a function. Now you need to prototype that function. A function declaration or function prototype tells the compiler about a function name and how to call the function. The actual body of the function can be defined separately. As you can see right here, we can declare the function using this prototype. A function declaration is required when you define a function in one source file and you call that function in another file. In such case, you should declare the function at the top of the file calling the function. Alright, never mind. Okay, let's look at this example right here. If you wanna stick with this configuration here, if you wanna stick with this arrangement of having your main function at the top and having your additional function at the bottom of your code, okay, as this is the format that I really want you to do. So you have to do this pattern right here. You have to follow this pattern because there is an explanation to that. For now, because our code is very short, so I cannot really tell you why did I choose to use this arrangement compared to the earlier arrangement. So in order to let the main function knows there is something underneath its feet, you have to create a declaration up at the top. This is to declare the presence of that function. We call this a prototyping. So you just simply need to write the function name. Also, you simply need to write the function name here, followed by the parentheses as well. So this is what we call prototype. Okay, a prototype for that function. This is just to let the main function knows, hey main. Okay, this is like me telling the main function, you need to know that there is something down there. Okay, and then you look above your head, the name of that function is print something, and the return type of that function, as you can see, void. Okay, I hope you noticed that. Thank you. That is how you are basically telling your main function what is going on within your code. So if you have the prototype above your main, you see there will be no more error. If I disable this prototype, if I comment out the prototype, I will be looking at that error once again. Okay, so you have to follow this pattern right here. This is a very important part of topic 5, whereby you have to be able to write a function prototype, you have to be able to write a function definition. Basically down here, this is what we call declaring a function definition. This is the real term here. Okay, function definition, up here is function prototype. You have to start understanding this term right here, these two terms. One is prototype, one is definition. That's it. I will not call it in any other ways. So the only way of me calling this is prototype, and then even though you have thousands of these prototype, they are still called prototype. And then even though you have thousands of new declaration at the bottom of your code, they will be still called function definition. Okay, so okay, if I run the code, it will run as usual. Let me just add one more line here, probably. Hello there. MCO, or this is CMCO stage 4. CMCO phase 5. PKPB CMCO, conditional movement control order phase 5. We are now at okay, as you can see, I'm adding one more statement. Then I can add one more line here, Raya and Gawai only one day, only on day one, only on day one. So we will have our Raya only for one day. The same goes to Gawai. So that is how you create a function with multiple statements. Alright, this is an example of we having multiple function. As you can see, okay, we have 3 additional function in this code right here. we have function 1, function 2, and function 3. So this is the prototype for function 1. So let's look at the definition, the declaration down there. Definition for function 1 is spitting out hello world, and then hello there for function 2, and then love you 3000 for function 3. Actually, this was made because of Avengers. This code was made after the Avengers, the last Avengers movie. So how you call them, you basically just need to invoke the function within the main code here. Alright, so this is basically doable in our code as well. We can add more stuff here. Alright, so let me just copy all this, copy the content, here, and then I can put them down there, and then I can add the prototype above our main function, meaning here. And then if you add them without calling them, as you can see, you are still gonna be doing just the thing that has been called, which is print something. Your main function has not called the other 3 extra function yet. So in order to do so, you have to invoke them as well. You have to call them as well. So you write function 1 followed by parentheses. That is to call function 1. To call function 2, you just write function 2 with parentheses, and then function 3. You can call any function anytime you like. Okay, it doesn't matter where you want to call it, or which arrangement that you prefer. You may want to call function 2 first before function 1, or you may want to call function 3 first before the rest of them. Okay, it doesn't matter, it's up to your own purpose. Okay, so as you can see right here from my output screen, I can see love you 3000, hello there, hello world being printed out after my initial block of statements. Alright, so we move on to the next slide. Okay, type 1. Okay, we are moving to type 1. This is the first type that you are about to learn. Okay, example and prototype method. So this is basically what we have done here. Type 1 is a function with no return value and no parameter. That is basically what we have done here. I don't need to do a new code for this type 1, because this is basically type 1. What we have done here is type 1. No return value plus no parameter. Okay, so that is basically type 1, the very basic type of function based programming. So you have a function here. You have 4 functions already with no return type here, as you can see from the void keyword being used, and then with no parameter, as you can see from the empty parentheses. All of them have no parameters, as you can see here. Okay, so function parameters. Alright, let's move on to parameters before we move on to the next type. For a function to use arguments, it must declare a formal parameter, which are variables that accept arguments value. Okay, something like void print something x. So we are moving to the second type of our function topic here, which is with no return type but with parameter. So this is actually type 2 basically. Type 2. Okay, this is type 2. So what this type 2 means is type 2 means the function has no return value, but has parameter. The function has some parameters. It could be one parameter or it could be multiple parameters. Okay, so looking at this print something again, as you can see here, let me just delete all the additional function which might get you confused. So we don't want you to see all that. We just want you to see this block of code here. Okay, I'm not calling them anymore. All right, let's just reduce it to this, and then you shall see only the 3 lines being printed out. Okay, so as you can see right here, how do we create a parameter? It is just simply by adding the variable inside that parenthesis. So how do we write a variable inside there? It could be any variable that you want. Let's say you want to give number to this print something function. So we can say I want to give this function a variable called x with the data type of int. So this function later, when it is being called, it will receive some value that is gonna be put into this x variable. So that value can be placed here later when we call that function. And then inside this print something, let's do this. I'm doing some extra statement here for better understanding. Okay, I'm not just simply put cout x. I could have done this, but it is not gonna be that clear for you because you are a beginner in this. So I need to really clarify on what is really going on with our code here. This defines a function that takes one integer parameter and print its value. Formal parameters behave within a function similarly to other local variables entering the function and are destroyed upon exiting the function. Okay. This intx here is basically like how you would declare a local variable. Okay, this is how we declare a local variable within our main function intx, and having this intx as a parameter for your function is basically similar to having intx within the print something function, but this is declaring it locally. Okay, because we are wanting to create a function with parameters. So if the function is like this now, meaning that the function has no parameter, so we want to have a parameter for this function. So this declaration, instead of declaring it locally here, you need to declare it inside the parentheses. So just imagine that there are just local variable within this print something, and then this is a local variable within main function, but you don't have to look at that first. Okay. Now, once the parameter has been defined, you can pass the corresponding arguments when the function is called. Okay, as you can see right here in my main function, I am calling the function print something, but I am adding the number as well. So let's say we follow that. instruction there. Let's write 42 there. Okay, let's write 42. Okay, this 42 is an integer number. Okay, even though we have not declared anything, but the number itself represents int, integer. So when you call this print something function, you are basically giving this value as well to that function. Okay, while calling that function, nah, I'm giving you 42, do something with this number. That is how your main function is going to behave in this situation. It's not just calling, hey, print something, do this to me, do this for me. You print something for me. And then with parameter, the instruction will change a little bit. Hey, print something, you will print something for me, but at the same time, I'm giving you this value, and then you need to display the value later on, okay, which is what we have prepared here. So let us run the code. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay, because I am using this function prototype method. Okay, if you have this function prototype method, right, you have declared a function with parameter. So at the prototype, you must also follow the same way of declaring your function here. So your function prototype must also contain the parameter here, intx. As you can see from my output here, receive 42 from main, meaning that this function, after it is being called, it is receiving a value, an integer value that it needs to print out. So after it receives, it grabs the 42 here. Okay, when you call that function, right, print something, so it will go to here, and then this container right here, this x container, will store that value 42. Okay, consider this as intx as well, but it is now just a number that you need to pass to somewhere. You have to pass to this print something function, and that print something function will get a container ready to store that 42. Okay, once being called, it will receive that 42 going into the container, and then it can start doing something with that value, something like 42. You just multiply with 2 here, x multiply with 2, you will manipulate the value, it will become 84. Okay, receive 84, even though it is receiving 42, but you straight away do something with that value by just multiplying it with other numbers. Okay, so that is regarding this. The value 42 is passed to the function as an argument. We call this argument. Okay, 42 is argument for that function, and is assigned to the formal parameter of the function x. So this intx is the formal parameter for this print something function. This x here is the formal parameter for my print something function. Making changes to the parameter within the function does not alter the argument. Basically, what I have done just now was modifying the parameter, but basically I'm not changing the parameter here. I'm not changing the argument. Okay, we are not altering the argument. Let's say I'm changing the value here. My value in the argument is still 42. It's gonna be 42 all the way. Okay, this 42 can be divided by 2. You'll get 21, right? 21. So the value that is being given is still gonna be 42, but you alter the the value that has been passed here, 42, inside the function here. Making changes to the parameter within the function does not alter the argument. Okay, this X is local to print something only. That one you have to keep in mind. You will learn about the scope later, the variable scope. Okay, type 2. So that is basically type 2 just now. Why did I do the slide like this? I introduced the title after we have gone through the explanation. Okay, we are basically doing the same thing here, even though my example here is a bit different. You can try it on your own, but let me just show you this way. Okay, maybe you don't have to look at the 3 statement anymore. Focus on this just one line of statement here. Okay, receive 21 from main, and then we can do other things with the X value here. X equals to X multiplied with 2, and then you see out X. Okay. So the receive value 42 you divide by 2, and then it prints out this statement, receive 21 from main. And then on my line 20 here, I'm doing other things with my X value. As you can see, even though I have done something with the X value earlier, but that doesn't change the original parameter value. The value that is being received is still gonna be 42 for as long as you are not modifying it entirely like this. This is modifying the value entirely. So X multiply with 2, and then you put bit back into the same container, which is X. So now your new X value is 84. Just ignore the percentage sign here. This is gonna be popping up quite a lot. I don't know why. I don't think I'm supposed to see that. Okay, wait a minute. Let me run my terminal once again. CD CSC topic 5. Okay, and then later on. Never mind. Alright. Okay, so after you have modified your X value, you will see that the new X value is gonna be different. Okay, let me add 100 to the current X value. Oh, sorry, I didn't put ENDL here. Just put ENDL because we are not printing out any statement other than this number right here. So ENDL is our base option. As you can see, yeah, it's gone now. 84 is being printed out first, and then 184 is being printed out later. That is because the value of X, the container, is now containing 84 rather than 42, because we have modified the value inside the container. So the new value in the container is gonna be 84 on line 21. So on line 22, 84 plus 100 is gonna give us 184. So that is how you play around with the variable. Okay, you can pass different argument to the same function. That's the benefit of having a function. You can pass multiple value. Let's say we are doing this example right here. So let's just add one more function down here and just ignore our print something for a while. And then let me add this additional function times 2. with an parameter integer x, then return x multiplied with 2. Okay. Oh, this is already type 3, guys. Sorry, this is already type 3. Okay, as we move on, basically I have made quite a mistake here because I didn't realize that we are changing the type. Okay, just now the print something is type 2 with parameter here, with parameter. Okay, and then this function is type 2, and then this function is basically type 3. Type 3 function definition. Type 3 means you have got written value and then you have parameter as well. So now the return type is no longer void. The return type is now integer, and then the name is times 2, and then you have a parameter inside of the parenthesis which is integer x. That is the local variable, the formal argument, formal parameter for the function returns 2, and then it is going to return something at the end. As you can see, it is returning x multiplied with 2. So how to play around with this code? Okay, so how to play around with this code? We can do something inside our main here by writing out the command cout, and then let's call that function times 2, and then let's put 2 inside here. It will call that function endl it says again undeclared identifier here, times 2. It doesn't know what this times 2 means, because if you remember, we need to declare a prototype up here. Whenever we add a function below main, you have to notify your main function. Okay, I have added one more function there. You have to look at that the name of that function. So int is the return type of that function. The name of that function is times 2, and then the function has parameter as well, so int x. So this is the second prototype. This was the first prototype. Okay, so now let's run the code once again. We shall see no more error. Okay, as you can see, 4 is being printed out. Okay, that is simply because we are passing this value of 2 into this function. 2 will receive by this x, and then that value of 2 will be multiplied with 2 from within that function, and that it is gonna be returned back to main. So once it is returned back to main, your cout will grab that value. Oh, I got something from that function. Okay, what is that? 4. Okay, let's look at one more function call here. Let's say I'm putting this 55 here. Times 2, 55 is what? 110. Okay, 110 is being printed out. Okay, let's add more function call here. Let's add function call and put 90 here. So 90 multiplied with 2, you will get 180. So you can call as many times as you want. This is what it means by the the function can be passed with different arguments. Okay, we can call the function multiple times with different argument, different set of argument. The function defined above takes one integer parameter and returns its value multiplied by 2. Okay, because in the function itself, it is doing some operation before returning back the value. That is what you need to keep in mind. If you are not doing anything to that function, let's say if you are not doing anything, if you're not doing any arithmetic operation, something like you're just returning x, so what's gonna happen is that if you run the code, you will look at the same value that you have sent to that function. It's just gonna be returning back the value all the way once again, because it is not doing anything to the value. So if you wish to modify the value, make sure you do it either before you do the returning or during the returning part itself. So here you can put x multiplied by 2 either this way. This is one of the method. The second method is you will do something before that, x multiply with 2. Okay, this is also gonna result in the same output, 4 110 180. But if you only have this one line of process here, and you know that process is just a basic arithmetic operation, which is multiplication, you can simply put that on that returning line, so to save some space. As you can see, adding this one more line will create a longer code, so you can minimize the length of your code by shortening out wherever possible. So this is where I can see that I could just shorten my function declaration down here. Okay, so this is type 3, guys, type 3. So let me add that header comment here, type 3 with return type plus with parameter. Okay, so far so good. Can I see any response in Google in YouTube chat real quick? Maybe I have been talking for too long in YouTube stream here. 21 is currently watching. Okay, let's see. I'm waiting for you. You put up something there. Glenn, how are you doing, Glenn? Are you playing Dota now? Okay, can everyone say hi? Say hi. Say hi once again. I'm waiting. We cannot proceed if I don't see anyone saying hi here. It seems like if nobody is saying hi, meaning that you are not even watching this. You might be watching other videos. Good, sir. Yeah, it takes quite a while. I think if I count it, roughly around 30 seconds of delay, I guess. 30 seconds of delay before seeing your response here. Yeah, thankfully it's not raining today. Yeah, and my house is completely empty now. Nobody at home. They left me this morning, so I am the only one in this house. Mana ada Dota, sir? Yeah, so it is completely silent in my house. It's just that you might be hearing the fan noise of this laptop only. Okay, that is regarding type 3. I don't think I need to make your life much harder than that. Okay, but you can try the code that has been put up in Google Slide here. Okay, so I'm not gonna do that. Oh, are we going straight to... Yeah, we are going straight to this type 4. So type 4 is a different story here. Type 4 is a function with return type, but it has no parameter. You could have that kind of function as well. And keep in mind, for your project, you have to implement all these types. You cannot just simply select, oh, I like the function with no return type. I want to have everything in void. You cannot do that. You will get a low mark for that code. So you have to implement all these 5 types. You have to understand all of them. You have to know how to use them in your code later. So by right, I'm pretty sure that you have started code tinkering a little bit. You have started your basic flow of program. If not, you better start now. Okay, or you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks left before we end the semester. It's almost 1 month left, 1 month plus. So you better start code writing now. You start off with the sequential, you start off with the selection structure and then the repetition structure. This can be implemented once you have done with all those structures. Okay, so you don't have to worry about function that much yet, but as long as you have got all the process going on in your code from start to end, which is only one process here, one main code only, and then I can help you out with changing or turning your single function code to multiple function code. So it's pretty simple to do that, by the way. But basically you have all the references, because inside this individual project I have added this centroid.cpp. You can refer to this method of code writing. You can even use this as template for your own purpose. If you are dealing with something similar to this project right here, calculating the centroid of the beam, you might be doing some food ordering system, ticketing system, your banking system. You can use the same template here. You just change everything here into whatever you are doing. If you are talking about banks, so you use a different way of displaying out your menu here. This is just see out, so you can just see out anything you want here. You can see out your bank name here. You can see out your airline ticket here. You can see out all your food menu here. This is the part where you just need to modify, and then you follow the process. You have to go through all the process first. Okay, you have to understand what I'm doing in this code, then you know how to make it your own version. I'm implementing so much inside here. There are so much to see inside here, basically. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Okay, so type 4, it is a new function. Okay, let me prepare the command first. Type 4 is with return type no parameter. It's basically the modified version of type 1. It's basically just an upgraded type 1. Type 1 is void with no parameter. Oh, sorry, it's the other way around. Sorry. So this is the other way around. So we have parameter, we have the return type, but with no parameter here. So how to do that? Let's just use this as an example right here. Sum func, int sum function. Func here is short for function, guys. Func, right? That is my additional function, and then I need to declare that function as well down here. Need to add one more declaration, int sum func then followed by parentheses, and then let me just rewrite that code. 12345 is my number. Okay, see out. So I'm just printing out the value there before we submit it to main function. So at the end of the code, you will return this value, return x. Okay, now we need to call that function. This is type 3, no, this is type 4, type 4 function definition. Okay, let me call that function, which is SumFound. And then probably we need to add this. And oh, sorry, I need to see out, by the way. Forgot to see out. Alright. As you can see, you have the 3 output in the beginning because you are calling ×2 function 3 times with a different set of value, and then you are seeing this value in SumFound is 1 2 3 4 5. That is basically coming from this sum function, and then it is gonna return back the value to main. So this is being printed out inside main, this is being printed out within that SumFound function. Okay, if you are calling that function without doing the cout, what's gonna happen? Okay, as you can see right here, it says reference to overloaded function could not be resolved. Let me use this one. Okay, let's remove ENDL. Sorry, that is because of the presence of ENDL. You cannot simply have the what was this again? I keep on forgetting the operator. What do you call this? Output stream operator. There is a name of it. Left shift, right shift. Yeah, that is what we call it. Left shift or right shift is easier to understand. It's easier to say that rather than insertion or extraction. Yeah, I think you better call it right shift or left shift. Yeah, it is even written in document Microsoft. So the left shift operator. Alright, we use that term for now. Starting from now, only I know how to pronounce this as a left shift. Basically that is a left shift operator, but you are not learning left shift. It is a different level of programming. So this left shift symbol cannot be placed if you don't have cout in front. So that is what I'm trying to say here. That is why you saw that error just now. When you saw this error, meaning that why are you having this ENDL suddenly at the end without a cout in the beginning of the line here in front of it? Okay, it must be accompanied by cout, then you can have ENDL at the back. But without that cout, you just simply need to call that function like this, because I wanted to show you what's gonna happen if you run the code like this. Yeah, as you can see, it is doing its job by printing out the value in SumFound because we are calling that function. But since we are not printing out the return value from that function, so we are not seeing that value. Okay, we should be seeing that 1 2 3 4 5 being printed out before I end my console here, right? Now I'm not looking at that value simply because we are not doing that from within our main. We have to do something to the return value. This function is returning that value 1 2 3 4 5, but since we are not doing anything to it, then your compiler will just ignore the return value. It knows that the function is returning some value, but what do I do with this value? Main will ask you that. Since you are not asking me to do anything with the value, then just leave it as is. I'm not gonna print it out. I'm just calling you some fun. You do your job, and then you give me the value. I'm not doing anything with that value. Okay. Otherwise, if you plan on doing something to that value, you can do it like this. So if you plan on multiplying that value to some numbers, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, multiply with 2, maybe. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it works. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 multiply with 2, you get 24690. Okay. Basically, you can grab the return value and then you do an arithmetic operation straight away to that value. This is how you do it. That is modifying the return value straight away. Okay, function with multiple parameters. As you can see from our example earlier, we only have had one parameter. Okay, we have only one parameters only, but essentially we can have more than one parameters. You can have as many parameters as you wish. Basically, you can define as many parameters as you want for your function by separating them with commas. Let's create a simple function that returns the sum of two parameters. Okay, let's add one function here. Okay, let's not get you mess up with all this function call. Okay, but I will just add more function down here without deleting the rest of the declaration. I'm just not calling them. We just not calling them, but we still keeping them declared. Maybe I might be using them soon. So let's add one more function here. This is gonna be type 3, another type 3 with multiple parameters. Okay, type 3 with multiple parameters. So I'm writing the prototype first. This is gonna be the prototype for this function. Add numbers and then followed by int x comma int y, since we have two parameters now instead of one. So let me go down here, or I can put it up here. It doesn't matter where you put it actually. Int add numbers. As you can see, my autocomplete is suggesting that. And then I might have this same variable name here, local variable name, and then followed by parentheses. Your code goes here. Alright, first here, her here. Okay, as defined, the add number function takes two parameters of type int and returns int. It's gonna return back int later on. It's gonna return something, but let's wait for that return. Okay, I'm not having any value yet, so I'm just writing down this return with semicolon at the end, so that everything is good here. Yeah, because I'm not returning any value. That is why it says this error here. If I don't put that line, it's just saying that control reached the end of non-void function. It's just a warning here. It's not an error. It's just that what my computer is telling me now is that okay, you have a function with return type of int here, but at the end of your code, it seems like you don't have any return value because you are not telling the function to return anything. So your compiler will give you out this warning. Control reaches end of non-void function. Control means the compiler. The compiler reaches the end of non-void function, but you are not doing any returning value. That is what the warning here is referring to. It doesn't matter actually. If you look at this warning, then your code is still gonna work. Your code is still gonna run as usual. It's just that there must be something that you are missing out, which is returning the value itself. Right, let's go to this. Okay, let's add the content of that function. We are not writing that content, so int result. Okay, we have an additional variable inside this function here, and then I am adding x plus y. I have already declared the variable as a formal parameter, formal declaration for this function right here, so I can just use that variable straight away, x plus y. Okay, this is just like a normal declaration within this function, and then you are returning the result. Okay, now if I run the code, as you can see, there will be no more warning because I do have that return result. What if I don't use that? What if I comment out the return result line? I will be seeing that error once again. This warning will come out once again. This is not error, warning. So bear in mind, whenever you have a function that will return something, you must have that return keyword at the end of the line, at the end of the code. Okay, and then what else do we need to do? Alright, let's call that function. Call that function. So this is the function definition. Function definition for add numbers. Okay, let's call that function from within our main. So add numbers, we call it by using the name itself, followed by parentheses, and then 4, 5, because we do have two numbers inside rather than one, two parameters instead of one. So oh sorry, this is not Python, guys. Semicolon, don't forget that. Oh, I'm not doing anything to that. Yeah, alright, I'm calling that function. Yeah, indeed, I'm calling that function, and then I'm sending out these two numbers to that function. You see, test the function by placing the two numbers inside parentheses. Okay, now the problem is that while calling that function, you don't specify what you want to do with that function call. You basically need to have a cout line in front, then you see the answer. Nine is being printed out here. Okay, cout. So let's put other numbers here. 9 is gonna be 18. Okay, so if you put like 999 and then 1 here, you're gonna get 1000. So that is just a simple arithmetic operation happening within our add two numbers. Okay, add numbers function. Okay, on to the next slide right here. On to the next slide, we are calling that function. You can also assign the return value to a variable. Okay, as you can see right here, we are doing the cout operation straight away to our function call. Rather than using this method, you can also create one more variable inside this main function, and you can call it answer, int answer. Okay, you put the return value later on inside this newly declared variable called answer, which resides in main. So this answer is being declared in main. So this is how you write it. You can write it this way, or you can declare it first and then you do the assignment later, or it is far easier if you just declare and assign straight away, assign the return value to that newly declared variable straight away. And then this is gonna be the next process, which is you need to print out that value, the answer value. See, 1000 is being printed out here. So you can play around with the value here, like multiply it will be another value of 10. So 1000 multiplied with 10, you get 10,000. So you can see we are manipulating our value now. As you can add as many parameters to a single function as you want. Okay, you can have multiple parameters, more parameters, x, y. Let's add one more. Let's don't get too crazy about this. Okay, add one more variable here, x, and then this is gonna be 50. I'm adding one more number. So inside this function right here, I'm adding one more variable as well. As you can see, you have to change everything. If you have 3 parameters in the prototype, you have to know that the function definition should also have three parameters. And then this one will plus one more parameter, which is that. Then it's gonna return the result and everything else will be the same. Okay, by calling it, you have to also include 3 value. There is something that I want to test out, but let me run this once. Okay, 10,500, because this one is 1050, right? 1050. So you multiply with 10, you get 10,500. Okay, but what I want to show you is, what about if you just include 2 parameters instead of 3 during your function call? So what should you expect here? What should you expect here? Error, it says here. Error, no matching function for call to add numbers. Note, yeah, it says note here. Candidate function not viable. Requires 3 arguments, but 2 were provided. I like the way this compiler is really helping me out, because it is saying that the candidate function is not viable, meaning that the add numbers that you are calling here is not the same as the prototype or the definition that exists in the code. From here, it knows that the required argument is 3, not 2. So by providing only 2 parameters, 2 arguments, you are gonna get this error because it is not tally with the prototype that has been declared. As you can see, the problem here is at line 14, and then line 14 is because of you are only including 2 arguments instead of 3, and then it will do a cross comparison with the prototype. It will refer to line 11. Just now it refers to line 14, and then now it refers to line 11. It sees that, oh, your function add numbers is basically having 3 parameters, not 2. So why are you providing only 2? That is what it's trying to say. I'm pretty sure you are not gonna see this type of error message in code block or development C++. This is only present in this environment, in this Unix environment, whereby I'm using this C++ library here, clang. I'm not sure you can try it on your own inside your own compiler and see if you get this kind of error message. Okay, so that is regarding the parameter here. So if I add like 111, I should be getting 3, and then 3 multiplied with 10, I should be getting 30. Okay, 30 here. Okay, what else? You can call it multiple times as well. You can call it like multiple times, like after you call it once like that, you can call it once again by adding different set of number here, the MDL. So 222, 222, 333. So 222, 6 multiply with 10, 60, 333, 9 multiply with 10, you get 90. So that is the value that you expect to have here. Oh, sorry, this one needs to have the ENDL as well. ENDL. Okay. Oh, I'm not, sorry, I'm not multiplying them with 10, so the value is 6 and 9. Sorry. This is because I did something to the answer or to the return value received, but here on line 17 and line 18, I'm just calling out that function without altering the value. So this is just adding those numbers. 2 here will go to X. There's the 2 in the middle will go to Y. The 2 on the far right is going to Z. Okay, let me change the pattern here a little bit so that you can see what is going on here. Okay, 3, 4, 5. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 5 is 12. So you can see from the answer here. Okay, this 3 here will go to X. You have to know that. 4 will go to Y. And 5 will go to Z. Okay, it will not go to somewhere else. It will not be switched. Okay, the positioning here is important, guys. The positioning of your argument is tally with the position of your parameter. So the first parameter, the first argument here will be transferred to the first parameter. The second argument is going to the second parameter. The third argument is going to the third parameter. That's it. You can even clarify that using this out. X is X, and then followed by space, and then I have to add this one. X is X, and then Y is something. Y is Y, and then adding one more. Z is Z. I hope I'm doing it right here. Let me just give one single space before and after. Right. See, 1, 1, 1 is because of the first argument that we sent out, 1. So the second argument that we sent out is 2, 2, 2 on our second call, and the third call is like this, 3, 4, 5. So as you can see, 3 is going into X, 4 is going to Y, and 5 is going to Z. You cannot switch them around. If the value is the other way around, 4, 5, 3, you will see that changing as well in the output. So 5 is going to X, 4 is going to Y, and Z is going to 3. 3 is going to Z. Okay, so what a day with you guys. Okay, pass by value, multiple. Okay, what you have learned so far is passing the parameter by value. Okay, parameter by value. This is what you have done. This is actually type 5 as well. Okay, the method that we are doing now is what we call type 5, passing the value of argument, passing the value, pass by value is what we call it. How do I say it? Do I have any definition here? No definition at all. Basically, we are passing this value, just passing the value, argument as value. We are not passing by reference. Okay, there is another term that is known as passing by reference. Okay, I will do that discussion on passing by value versus passing by reference on our next session next week. So I guess I have pretty much done with all this type 1 until type 4 plus pass by value type 5. Okay, wait. Okay. Oh, suddenly missing. So I guess we have pretty much done with this. Okay, you see me back in the video there. Okay, that is basically chapter 5. We will go through the you can refer to online resources as well if you wish to learn more on this, if you wish to get some more examples regarding function. The best place to look for that extra resources is this tutorial points. Okay, I strongly recommend you to go and visit these tutorial points. This is where you can get a lot of examples. Here I'm looking at my OBS window now. There is leaking here. I need to change the positioning later. Never mind. You're looking at my curtain at the back. Alright, so okay, this is one of the place, and then you can go and type C++ function in Google search, and then you should see the www schools, w3 schools, c++.com. You can look for the tutorials from their site as well. Okay, and then we shall be doing the Code Academy version of this class as well next week. So with that, I think it's gonna be sorry, we have to do this before we leave to make sure that you are still inside the stream. Don't leave the stream yet, guys. I'm still looking at the number there. There are 20 of you here. Why is it 20? It's supposed to be... Let me do this static QR. Okay. Please scan your attendance before you leave. Okay. Scan your attendance, guys. And thank you for joining this stream, and see you again next week. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well. Please be sure to subscribe, because I want you to be able to watch my entire session, okay, entire session for your own reference. you have to skip through all the live stream because it is too long. You need to scrub through the timeline to get to where you want to be. Bye bye. So that's all for today. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye. Bye Shafiq. Bye Manudin. Bye everyone. Bye Zazwan. Hi Ain. Welcome. Bye. Thank you. Welcome Faza. 5 learn to oh YouTube. How long has it been? Why there's still 8 people in the stream there? Bye Macarin. 22 5. Oops. Small more meat for this slide. Ooh, it's hot, hot. Okay. So I guess I just add this screen.